Hello and welcome back to I like making big things look small and small things look big. That's right, it's millennials at it again. Some of you may know that when The Borrowers came out, it immediately moved into the smallest mouse hole of my brain and has never left. A few years ago, I did a video where I made Borrowers clothing. Borrower! 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 And since then, I've got the itch, incurable itch, to make furniture that is simply too much.
That's right, my friends. This week we are making 2 pieces of Borrowers inspired furniture. I've always loved furniture that makes you feel small, and I blame it on the cruise that my family took me on when I was about 8 years old. I think it was Fantasy Carnival or something. They had this cat's lounge that up until recently I thought was a fever dream. The first idea that I cannot get out of my head is the fact that I need a new sewing chair. And so I want to make a chair that looks like an upside down thimble, perhaps by repurposing a trash can. I want it to look like one of those cute old antique ones with the design up top. Obviously I need a place to put my booty, so I'm going to make the top look sort of like a pin cushion to make it nice and comfy. For the second piece of furniture, I've seen people make spool tables and I've always really loved it, but I specifically saw this picture online and I just pretty much want to recreate it one for one. So it's going to be this kind of high top spool coffee table with a measuring tape all around it. Before we start making my borrower's dreams come true, this video is sponsored, so to talk a little bit about that, here is sponsor Rachel.
Are you a collector of hobbies? Shh, it's okay. You're amongst your peers. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, which I'm so excited about because I genuinely love Skillshare. What Skillshare is a platform where you can find thousands upon thousands of classes of pretty much whatever you would like to learn from leading professionals all around the world in illustration, video editing, you name it, essentially every creative skill you would like to learn. Just search it and there is a course on it. Sometimes I will just put on a 5-hour course of something that I don't even necessarily want to start right away, but I just want to watch someone teach me how to do it. As you may have just noticed in the design phase, I had some new tools at my disposal. And that is because I took the course Sketchbook Fillers Club 4 Powerful Guidelines for Stunning Spreads by Dylan M., who is now one of my favorite artists. She broke it down by the materials I would need, for little exercises at the end of every chapter so you could do it yourself. And so because of this course, I bought some new Posca markers, which I'm so excited to dig a little bit deeper and play around with. I put on this course while I was taking care of my little chaos gremlin. My next course I want to take is a course on gouache because I recently decided I wanted to get into that too. Why not? If you're looking to get into a new hobby or a new career path even and you don't know where to start, I highly suggest Skillshare. So just for you, Skillshare is offering a 1-month free trial. You can use either my QR code or head to the link in my description. And before ado-s are in any way furthered, it's time to head to the home improvement store and gather our supplies.
I was beginning to realize I have this face when I walk around home improvement stores. I think it's like a self-defense mechanism. They didn't have the exact size seat that I wanted, so I did have to go with the bigger one, and I was not above doing a sit test in the middle of Lowe's. I was having trouble finding the cardboard tubes, but after about 15 minutes of walking around like this, I finally found them. After giving it a good nahoy, I headed home.
Ugh, this room is an absolute disaster. I swear I had every intention of cleaning this up after my creature project, but then we adopted a puppy, so. put that over here for now. Now it's a decorative folder. Today, I am gonna focus on the spool table. Trash can that I'm using for the thimble seat hasn't arrived yet, so that makes my decision pretty easy on which one to start on. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm getting giddy just thinking about working on this. We've got our boards. I grabbed 6, because I think this is the thickness that I want that top of the table to be. So there's that, and then there's this giant tube. These are meant for pouring concrete into, I believe. Not in the hands of this bitch. I need to cut this for sure, hoping it's not too difficult to cut into. Basically, I need to figure out the height that I want everything. And then I need to cut out the circles of the foam with varying diameters so it kind of gives that shape before I even sand it down. Then we have to shape it and stuff, but gotta cut those out, glue them together. Just gotta get to work. Yeah.
So I got to work figuring out how tall I wanted this end table to be, all very scientific, of course. Hey, guess what? Turns out that these are nearly impenetrable and really hard to cut. This took me so long.
3 weeks later.
I decided to make each circle 1 inch less of a diameter than the previous one. And then one more time for the last circle.
Let's see. I've got my 3 variations of circles here. Not bad. The differences between each circle is a little bit more drastic than I had intended, but I think the form is still there. This is kind of what I'm thinking. So we're gonna lose a little bit up top, but that's fine because it is pretty wide right now. I just have to do the same thing for the bottom, which is a little bit easier because I don't have to do any measuring, I just have to trace. Let's go.
After testing it out, I decided it was a little too tall, which was annoying, but I recut it.
Hello, good morning. I've got a special package that came. I wonder what it could be. So that's good, that's here. That means that we can start on the thimble chair whenever. But for now, I'm gonna head back out to the barn, start working on the tops of the spool table. And it is absolutely frigid. Something I realized yesterday is that when I go out to the barn, listen, okay, I am wasting no time. The scurry of which I perform is nothing short of an exhibition of athletic prowess, and I would like to show you that right now.
Whoa! For those of you at home who may have missed it, can we get an instant replay?
Hey, that's pretty good. So now that I have these, basically I have to figure out how to carve them. So there's this little kit that I purchased, and it just has hot wire carving tools. So that is an option. My only problem with that is that I have the hands of someone who survived the Titanic. One might call them shaky. It's not uniform all the way across, and you know, sometimes it like creates divots that is not really what we want to make this look like a wooden spool. My other option, possibly,
Shing, sparkle, sparkle.
this is a brisket knife. Because it's nice and long, it'll give me like a nice diagonal. This bad boy cuts like a nice brisket. Hey, hey. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, it kind of gets a little stuck. Really take that chunk by chunk. Take off a big chunk with this and then kind of really fine tune with this. Maybe. Well.
I started slicing her like a fine piece of meat, but realized it wasn't working, so I said screw it, and I switched to just sanding it down.
Because this still has some gaps, which I will try to avoid with the second one, but just this very thin gap here, I'm gonna try to fill that with Quick Seal. I'm gonna squeeze that in the crack. While those are setting up, let's talk about the second project. Go get it. She's my girl. She's got puppy hiccups. The second half of this is making the thimble chair. And as you saw, the trash can did come in. It was quite tricky because I wanted a trash can that was gonna be tall enough that then when I add the cushion and stuff, it's like a normal chair height. Surprise, a lot of trash cans are only yay big. It was a little bit of a struggle. I'm gonna tell you right now, just upon initial feeling of this, I think we might have to pivot what we're doing. Size does not come with strength. This is so thin. I don't know what I was expecting. When I sit on this, it might hold my weight. Once I put the wood on top and the cushion, it might help disperse the weight evenly across the surface. Any sort of hard plastic coating I have on this is going to warp, it's gonna crack. So it holds my weight. I can feel it. It wants to warp. Problem. Solution, a change of materials. Instead of a rigid epoxy plastic covering this, cover this with an EVA foam. And I was just gonna sculpt the little thimble divots in there. Nope, nope, no, no trash for you. In the bin. That's where rubbish goes. What I'm wondering if I can take an ice cream scoop, heat it up with a heat gun, and then press into EVA foam to make the divots. As a quick side note, my glasses came in. I can see everything. Playing video games with these on, I didn't realize how bad it was. It's essentially like going from 720p to 1080. My life has changed. I don't love the design. It's about utility and function. I feel a little bit like I should be heading to my cabin in the middle of the woods to write my latest horror novel, but experiment time.
Yeah, so this did not work, like literally at all. So I decided to risk it and see if maybe putting the top on would disperse the weight better, and it did. So I decided to just take the gamble and return to my original plan of carving right on the basket.
Morning. It's a snow day today, so this is the outfit we're working with.
Wow.
Let's get to work. As you can see, we've got our trash can. Something a little special, thanks to my friend Ollie, my dearly beloved Ollie. That makes her sound like she's dead. She's not. She's very well. I've been texting her for advice. She works fabrication for theme parks like Disney and Universal. Last time I went down to Florida, we toured the new Epic Universe, heard about some of the fabrication of everything, and she mentioned this product called Polygem, which is a two-part mixture, essentially like epoxy sculpts, if you've seen me use that before. From what I gathered, it's a little bit easier to work with over large surfaces. Slap it on here. Take this little pestle or mortar. Got a 50-50 shot of one of those being right. Imprinting a little dimple like thimbles have. I'm a little nervous I don't have enough. This is not gonna be all covered with it. Maybe halfway, and then we can do another layer of foam here, kind of like this design. I was texting her and she said that I should sand and scratch up this surface so the Polygem has something to adhere to. So let's do that. I still am quite nervous about how easily floppable this is. I can only hope that once we get the Polygem on there and then the top, that will give it some stability. All right, I think that's probably fine. Do I have plastic flakes in here from that? Ollie says she likes to mix it on a piece of cardboard like you're making bread. Yum. Okay. Ollie also said that she does it about fist size for part A and part B. Yes, ma'am. Looks like a nice baseball. This is the sticky stuff, holy cow. That looks about right. Just making biscuits. I should probably take my rings off for this. Be right back. Yeah. We want this all one solid color. Striations of any kind. Yeah, in case you were wondering. If you're not kneading your dough in this posture, sorry to invalidate you, but I don't really want to touch the camera with these hands. These hands. We're gonna need a lot of this. All right, let's stretch it out a little. Water. Smooth. Ew, kind of gross looking. I'm gonna try with the other side. These are kind of skeeving me out a little bit. That's better. It's a little less aggressive. I'm not trying to activate anyone's trypophobia here.
Don't mind me just having a little ghost moment.
Oh my God.
After letting that set, I moved on to the measuring tape, in which I grabbed this like boat vinyl from my stash, and with the help of my newest assistant, I just cut out some strips. Then it was time to add a hard coat to the spool. I had read online that people water down wood glue. I'm not entirely sure why you need to water it down, but I do as I'm told. Hey kiddos, it is now the next morning.
This has had the night to set, and it's looking pretty good. There are droopings that I'm gonna have to sand down, but I wanna sand it down anyways, make sure it's nice and smooth. That sounded like my jaw when I yawn first thing in the morning. Overall though, it feels very sturdy. The next step, retique it.
Not sponsored, but also retique it if you're watching this.
If you watched my Hobbit sewing room, you might be familiar with this product. This weird kind of primer that has real bits of wood in it. So you paint it on, kind of make up that wood grain. That's the primer. That is the first step. And then after that, you can go over with a stain. I got the color Barnwood. Wow. Slightly easier than making up the wood grain yourself. So that's the spool. The other half of this is, ta-da! My lovely trypophobic thimble chair. Yay! It doesn't look like much now, and it is quite messy. Have faith that when we finish this, we add the details on top, we add the little cushion, paint everything. I think it's gonna look pretty cute. Don't wanna push it too much, but it feels pretty strong. I had this EVA foam in my basement that I had totally forgotten about. I'm going to take a length of this, put it around, actually fits right under this little lip. Adhere that to the can, remaining polygem, and add those little like vine and flower details. So, shall we talk about the list of what we need to do today? I think we shall. Sand and coat the spool with that retique it, paint it, sand down the thimble, add the foam, add the little design. The measuring tape, I need to sew it, add the little numbers, make the cushion for my bottom. Last thing to do is attach the measuring tape to the spool. Can we do this all in one day? I don't know. We're gonna give it the old college try. Hands in. The horrors of this world will not eliminate our whimsy on 3. 1, 2, 3. Break. All right. I've got to do some maths. I've got to figure out the scale of this, what 1 inch is going to be. And I know some people are probably viewing this and saying, what, like it's hard? Listen, my brain was designed for making little guys and collecting hobbies, not math. All right, so 1 inch I'm gonna make 10 inches. That seems about right. I'm gonna get to work marking every single inch of this.
When it came to figure out how to draw everything on, I struggled a bit because fabric markers did not set on this pleathery material. This permanent marker kind of worked, but it wasn't quite as vivid as I wanted, but I just went with that for now. So I got to work doing all 20 numbers and all of the tiny little lines. Eventually though, I did go over it with these Posca markers that I mentioned earlier, and it did the trick. That took so long. Let's move on to the other 5,000 things I need to do by the end of today, shall we?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little stressed about time, so I'm hoping this doesn't take me any more than an hour. I have this reference image of an antique thimble. I want to do a similar design to that. So flower, vines, and then another flower. You get the idea. And then those will have leaves. Something like that. And I'm hoping I can do this with the leftover Polygem. So I'm gonna mix up a batch and then just add a very, very thin layer, biting off more than I can chew instead of just doing one more digestible project per video. Start shopping it on there.
Then it was time to add the tape measure on top of the spool. I decided that a staple gun was probably the best way to do this. Now obviously it doesn't look quite as full as the reference image, but I'm okay with that. This strip would have had to be like 3 times longer than this. To make it look a little bit more antique, I also did a little wash of a darker color, just so it didn't look so brand spanking new. To make the little pin cushion seat, I took this craft wooden circle, carved out a cushion, and just upholstered some fabric on there. To jazz it up a little, I added this rope as if it were like some sort of thread. Okay, last thing on the docket. Last 2 things. Very chrome. Dull this down a bit by adding some black in all the crevices and just generally all over. Because I ask you, do antique thimbles ever look this shiny? Absolutely not. If we have time, I want to add some graphics on top of this, like old spools have. We're on the home stretch. I believe in us. Let's do it.
Ta-da! We are done. Probably no surprise to most of you, was a beast of a project, but they are complete. So giddy. I feel like little 8-year-old me again in that cat's lounge. Take me back to the cat's lounge. There's just something about furniture that looks like little things that makes me so satisfied and fulfilled. Wrap up. They are in need of no tune-ups, which is very rare and a little suspicious. Usually when I finish something, I need to add something or I ran out of time. Somehow, I managed to get everything done. Only thing I need to do is just run a clear coat over this and then probably this, just to make sure none of the paint rubs off. If this is gonna be furniture, it needs to be sturdy. Speaking of sturdy, what went well? Let's start. I love this. It's so cute. Very sturdy. I can put heavy things on there. You know, it's a little bit, it's almost like you took the reference image and stretched it. That is the height that I needed it to be, and I didn't want it to be any wider. This is a little thin. That's the material I had. I didn't want to spend any longer than I needed to on this. I think the writing is a cute detail. It's obviously not, perfect, but with both of these I'm gonna use the cop-out that I don't mind that they're handmade looking. They're a little folksy, they're a little wonky. Speaking of wonky, the holes on this I think probably could have looked a little less trypophobic if I had some sort of order to them and not just eyed it. I did not attach this yet because I kind of want to figure out a way to make it so it can flip up and have storage. It is round though, so I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. So I guess that is one thing that I have to add. It's functional. I'm so excited about it. It seems to hold my weight pretty well. I think everything I added some structure to it. I love how this came out. I think it does look like a thimble. Obviously my scales are a little bit different here. Okay, this is borrower sized. This is fairy sized. I'm okay with that. I find it my life's mission to make everything just a little bit more whimsical and impractical than it started out as. I'm just slowly moving into furniture, I guess. That's it. Holy cow. Thank you so much Skillshare for sponsoring this video. They are offering a free month's membership if you use my QR code, ding, or the link in my description. I love you very much whether you're new or old to this channel. If you're new here and you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe. I upload every other Friday. And we have fun here. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! Bringing it downtown. Where did I put it? Schwa. Hey! Feel like a National Geographic photographer.
And here you see the siblings fighting for dominance in the wintry tundra. The small speckled one may be tiny, but she's scrappy.
I love when I'm do a whole monologue and I'm not actually recording. That's the sound of hustling. Where's my coffee? Oh, how am I supposed to film an ad without any coffee? That makes 4 SpongeBob references in one video. It's a little too much.